So I guess this is the Suns video that I've taken months to finally make for some reason. The Suns are very good. They have a chance to be a real threat in the postseason, whether that's to get to round 2, conference finals, perhaps even the NBA finals if some things bounce their way. Their defense has been amazing. Their offense has been good overall, but a little more up and down. Between the Chris Paul mid-range and Devin Booker ISOs, pick and rolls, off-ball action, Mikal Bridges being more than just a 3-and-D guy, doing some stuff off the dribble. Cameron Payne and Dario Saric playing the best of their career. Saric mainly because he's been moved to center. Cameron Johnson's continuing to be good. But to me, Deandre Ayton is the X factor of this team, and he's kind of the big difference maker in the Western Conference to me. Even if I still think a healthy Lakers team is the best team. Now, I will say with Ayton, he's been good this season. His defense has continued to improve, and he has been so good at being willing to play a role on this team. You know, setting screens, running in transition, standing in the dunker spot. A lot of centers would not be okay with that. They would want to demand touches and all that, and he's been cool with it. And he still has gotten post opportunities, of course. And to me, there's been kind of this push and pull all season as Phoenix has been very good, where it's like, you want to do the Chris Paul and the Devin Booker stuff, but then they sometimes forget that Ayton's there, and then sometimes they overcompensate for that, and they just halt everything, and they get him the ball like 5 straight possessions. And I think it's beginning to get to kind of a perfect middle ground. Lately, Ayton has been having some of his bigger point totals of the season, and I just want to see what the ideal version of that is. Maybe this hasn't happened as much as I feel like it has, but I've seen Ayton in transition. He will immediately look to seal his defender off in front of the basket, and then Chris Paul, who's usually maybe past the half-court line at this point, will get it to him right away. And of course, sometimes it's Booker, sometimes it's Payne. I think that's one really fluid way to get Ayton his touches without killing the flow of the team. So I would hope Ayton does more of that. To get back to the half-court offense, though, they're not getting enough stuff at the rim. I mean, you look at Chris Paul, for as amazing as his mid-range is, it's almost the only shot he attempts at this point. And Devin Booker, for as good as he is, he's averaging 5 free throws a game. For the season, the Suns are last in the league in free throw attempts. They are third to last in shot attempts in the restricted zone. They're 4th in mid-range attempts per game, and I feel like Deandre Ayton can be the counter to a lot of that. Now, that said, it's not as simple as just getting Ayton a post-up, because as people will tell you, he can be a little finesse-happy, hook shots, turnaround jumpers, rather than just let me bully my guy out of the way and get a trip to the line or drop step dunk on his head, whatever it may be, right? And that's been a conversation with Ayton. Is he mean enough to average not even 20 points, but just 5 free throws a game or something? Because, again, I think that's what this Suns team needs, and I think they have been empowering Ayton a little bit more. So we'll see if it continues. Should be said, even if he's just doing the normal big man stuff, setting screens, playing hard, he'll probably give you about 15 points a game just off of that stuff. Of course, his passing out of the post needs to be good as well. And the last thing I want to think about is Ayton in specific matchups for the playoffs. I mean, as of right now, man, there is a chance that the Suns are going to be playing either the Blazers, Mavs, or Warriors in round 1. We'll have to see how the play-in tournament and just the standings for the rest of the season play out. But, I mean, Luka and Dame are, I think, 2 and 3 in pick and rolls per game. So is Ayton ready for that? I feel like he could actually do an okay job there. I think he does an okay job of stepping up on screens. I think he's really made strides defensively. But still, doing that possession after possession against Dame or Luka, it could be tough. And against the Warriors, I mean, they don't run it with Steph as much. I think he runs like half as many pick and rolls a game as Dame and Luka do. But that'll still be a challenge. And then if you start thinking about other matchups, I mean, if they end up facing the Nuggets, is Ayton not just going to get killed by Jokic in their matchup? I mean, yeah, I understand it's a team thing to defend Jokic, but it helps when the main guy is doing a decent enough job. And whether that's being able to rotate out to him from three, not get bodied by Jokic in the post. And you can ask similar things if they run into the Clippers or the Lakers. And with the Clippers, sometimes it's 5 out with Ibaka, sometimes it's Zubats rolling to the basket. And I mean, Ayton is better than both of those guys, but you know how it is in the playoffs. Sometimes it gets weird and Al Horford outplays Joel Embiid. I just want to make sure Ayton is not on the wrong side of that sort of thing. But yeah, man, I'm more optimistic about Ayton. I am. I think the Suns are starting to get him a little bit more touches in the post, and he's had games where the free throw attempts have been higher. So I guess to move this off of Ayton, probably just talk about Booker, because he's the other guy who could give them a lot more at the rim. I feel like they need to give Book more opportunities to get downhill, because sometimes it's ISOs on the elbow, sometimes it's post-ups, sometimes it's some off-ball action, and all that's nice, and he is still really good, but I think it's creating a bit of a Jason Tatum thing, where it's like, you're really good, but it would be nice if there were like a couple more shots a game going to the rim, and I think the best way to do that for Booker is put him in a screen, top of the key, or just let him get it, bringing the ball up court, and then maybe you set a screen really high for him, allow him to get a running start. I mean, for as good as this Suns team has been, I do still feel like, similar to the Ayton thing, the push-pull of getting Ayton's touches, everything else we do, there's a bit of a push-pull with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, where it's like you want to let Devin Booker cook, but you also need to let Chris Paul run the show because he's Chris Paul. I mean, guy's averaging 9 assists a game right now. But do not mistake this as me doubting Phoenix. I just have some questions while still being very impressed with the overall product. I mean, their defense has been excellent this year. And I think that defense is a big reason why the Suns have barely been blown out this season. They only have like 3 losses of more than about 10 points. I mean, it's actually kind of insane. The vast majority of their losses this year have been within 5 points or so. So yeah, they're good. Where would I rank them in the West right now? I mean, to me, it's if the Lakers are healthy, then they're number 1, regardless of seeding. And unfortunately for the Suns, they might run into that Lakers team, depending on how the Lakers do without LeBron and AD. But besides that, I feel like it's just kind of, I don't know. I feel like Denver could be the second best team. Maybe it's the Blazers, maybe it's the Suns, maybe it's the Jazz, Clippers. I got no clue, man. I think those 5 teams, any of them could beat each other. And yes, that is disrespectful to the 1 and 2 seeded Jazz and Suns, but like, look, man, you get Jokic in a series against anybody, the Nuggets can win. You know what I mean? Same thing with Dame, same thing with Kawhi. It's just how it goes.